Hello, Abyss crew. Matt here. Just wanted to let you know we had a bit of a weird audio recording issue again, and we lost all of our discussion about Ray Cluley's Get Away, which was the whole point of this episode. So I apologize for that, and I apologize to Ray. We really did enjoy your story, and it's a bummer that you could not hear our discussion about that. We are really trying to figure out what the issue is, and hopefully we can figure it out. But for now, just listen to us rant and rave about a bunch of random stuff that we read and watched over the last couple weeks. And hopefully, next week, we will have this recording figured out.
Hello, welcome to Staring into the Abyss. I'm your host, Richard Gerlach, and I found all these bottles on this nice sandy beach. With me, as always, is Matt Brandenburg.
Hey, I've been hanging out at this crazy island getaway, and I've just, there's a bunch of kids running around.
And
it's crazy.
Always with commentary is Buehlman Mist.
Oh, you're lucky you see kids. I only just see, my dead mother's face around everywhere here.
Oh, it sounds traumatizing. Maybe you should go to a hospital.
No, I can't. I'm stuck on this resort.
Well, you gotta get away.
Now, is it like a head, or literally just her face?
Just her face floating in the ocean.
So is it like
That's
reflecting
super
in the
weird.
ocean, or is it like you can pick it up out of the ocean?
Like a mask.
I don't know. At first I thought it was a jellyfish, but now I'm not so sure.
I think you should go in for a bigger look. And the story we're going to be discussing today is Get Away by Ray, I think it's Cluley?
Sure.
Ray Cluley.
Cluley. I'm so sorry, Ray, if you listen to this.
I apologize, Ray, if we fucked up your last name. I think it's Cluley. But if we fucked it up, Ray, we apologize. And this is a really interesting short story. And I'm excited to get into it with you guys. But
it's like a great last hurrah for the summer.
It is. So we didn't do much vacation horror this summer, so it's kind of fun to get like a vacation horror story in by the end there.
Yeah.
Something different.
Now that we're getting stuck in routine and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can read this for free at thedarkmagazine.com, or also pick up an issue of The Dark, because it's a great magazine, and we definitely use it for a lot of the stories that we discuss.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we should go into our weekly recommendations and or rants. I think to start us off, we do have one longer rant incoming, but I want to start us off on a positive note and on a happy note, and that is Peacemaker has returned.
So I haven't got a chance to watch the first episode of season 2. But I'm very excited that it's back.
It is really good.
Wait, the first episode is already there?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it just came out. So
it came out Thursday night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Thursday night, episode one premiered. And I will not spoil anything for the sake of plot for you guys, but just know that Peacemaker is back and probably better than ever.
Nice.
They do a funny retcon at the beginning, which, if you remember, at the end of Peacemaker, when they leave the building and the Justice League is there, and Peacemaker's like, "Where the fuck were you guys?"
Oh yeah.
In this one, it's now the Justice Gang, and they replaced the Flash and Aquaman with Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner.
That's amazing.
And
that makes me happy.
They just treat it as just a regular comic book retcon. No explanation. Now it just takes place in the James Gunn DC universe. It's just a retcon. That's all they treat it as, which I think is the best way to do it. No trying to bridge everything over. Just retcon something and move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a new theme song and intro dance. And
they're dancing more?
They're dancing. They're still dancing. It's to a different song this time. It's to a Foxy Shazam song. Which I think Matt remembers Foxy Shazam because I remember them very well. Yeah. And the premise is essentially after the end of Peacemaker, the Argus Squad, Amanda Waller's like task squad, after Adebayo kind of leaked all their shit in front of everybody, has been broken up. Adebayo can't find work. Harcourt also can't find work. Peacemaker is kind of stuck in a phase of the trauma of having killed his own father in season 1 and trying to come to terms with the violence that surrounds his life and him trying to be a better person. And
I love that.
All I'll say is the episode opens up with Eagly waking him up and demanding to go inside that pocket dimension door where they had all the Peacemaker White Dragon helmets. So he takes Eagly in there, and Eagly finds another door that has a bunch of other Peacemaker helmets on the inside of it. And he opens the door, and there's a big mansion with all these newspapers about the trio, and it's the Blue Dragon, Peacemaker, and his brother Keith.
Oh.
And
wow.
He looks up and he sees his dad, and then he weeps. But now he knows that there's an alternate universe in which his dad loves him, and that his younger brother actually got to grow up.
That's amazing.
Oh.
And we'll see how that comes into play as this will move forward.
Oh, I love it.
They also brought Frank Grillo back as Rick Stone Sr.
Yes.
Who now is having Peacemaker aggressively monitored since Peacemaker killed his son. So they're just bringing everything right into the DC stuff. They're just throwing it in there, and which I honestly think is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
The comedy's still there. It's still outrageous as ever. I'll just put it this way. You know how the first season they made some passing comments about Peacemaker being bisexual?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're very explicit about it in this season. There's a whole bisexual orgy that Peacemaker throws in the episode. So, like, part of me also appreciates that DC isn't afraid to let James Gunn just get weird with their stuff.
Yeah.
Where, like, Marvel would never allow that. Like, I'll tell you, there's more in the episode. There's only a slight spoiler, but I'll tell you, there are more penises in this episode than probably any of Righteous Gemstones.
Oh my God.
Which, if you've seen Righteous Gemstones, you know there's a lot of penis in that show. They almost stopped that with one episode of this Peacemaker show. Which, again, I'm happy DC's letting James Gunn just get weird with it, because I think ultimately that's what makes it work. And, like, one of my favorite Peacemaker quotes from the episode, then I'll pass it on, is he leaves the job interview and Peacemaker's like, the only thing that fucker said I was good at was sucking cock. That's what I put down. It's a fucking compliment. So it's still got that Peacemaker sense of humor, and it has some pretty shocking plot revelations, and I'm really excited to see where the show is going to go from here. And I will also say that John Cena has definitely improved his dramatic acting. Which was already good. I think it was already decent in Peacemaker season 1, but he really tops it in season 2, just from episode 1.
Nice.
So,
that's cool.
I really hope he still stays grounded, like he still is. Like, I hope he doesn't go be a douche like The Rock and everything.
Honestly, well, the thing is, The Rock has kind of always been a douche, and like, I won't speak for John Cena as a person, but I do know, like, I don't know. I do know he's someone who, there was a thing with him when he was like dating people or dating someone. He would have them sign an NDA clause when they were dating, mostly because he just wanted to keep under wraps. He didn't want like all the paparazzi and stuff going on around it. But he seems like a more just, I won't say down to earth, but I'll say someone who guards his privacy a little bit more. Where The Rock is more of like an egomaniac. And you can kind of tell that John Cena loves what he does. Like he wouldn't have made all those Make-A-Wish Foundation wishes if he didn't love what he did. Like he's done a lot to show that he just genuinely enjoys the stuff he does. And I appreciate that about John Cena. I will say though, The Rock is going for an Oscar this year. But if you've seen the trailer for The Smashing Machine, which is the Mark Kerr biopic, which it looks good, but it just also reeks of The Rock trying hard for an Oscar. But Matt, what about you?
Yeah, so two things to tie into the Peacemaker, and this will just be a short one. James Gunn has a Peacemaker podcast. It's with him. Why am I drawing a blank on her name? His wife, Harcourt.
Yeah.
I hear her name all the time. Anyway, she's in it. And then Steve Agee also. And so they did like a episode breakdown. So each podcast episode is one episode of Peacemaker. And then they bring in different people from the show. It's really good. It's definitely worth checking out because he talks, not only do they kind of break down the episode, but then they also talk about like what he's determining is canon, a music choice. So they talk about a song and they have like a little mailbag listener thing. But then it's really interesting to hear him talk about the writing process of it and just what he was kind of doing, and then just kind of working in the studio as well as filming during COVID. It was all of it is really good. Even if you're not like a huge fan of Peacemaker, which is crazy, you should be. But if you're not, that's fine. It's definitely worth listening to this just to kind of get a cool behind the scenes of a writing process for a TV show.
Like I was recommending Peacemaker to a few people for season 2, not to cut you off. And they're just like,
that's all right.
I'm so tired of shows like The Boys. And I'm like, The Peacemaker is nothing like The Boys. Like, The Boys is a satire that has gone on too far and has become the thing it's satirizing.
Yes.
Where Peacemaker is more earnest about what it's doing.
Yeah.
Like,
I think, like, with... Oh, go ahead.
I was thinking, I just consider Peacemaker a more earnest show than The Boys. The Boys is more like South Park.
Yeah, that's like a good point of it, where like maybe at first it had like its cool edge, and then after a while it just became this big marketing machine, and it's like, okay, you're just there for money now, and yes, maybe you do make a good point now and then, but overall you're still like, what's going to get me cash?
Peacemaker is about the characters and about the story a lot more now.
Exactly, and I think it helps with James Gunn. He we'll see, I should say, now that he's kind of running DC, but up until this point, he's always seemed very grounded in what his goal is and what he wants to do. So, I'm hoping that keeps up.
So I heard a thing with James Gunn. I don't want to harp on DC talk for the whole podcast, but I heard this they're talking to James Gunn about his vision for the DCU. Or EU, whatever they're calling it. He said, like, his goal is he wants people to tell their own original stories with these characters. Like, he loved, like, he said when he was a kid, the one thing he loved about DC Comics is he could buy a DC comic and get sucked into its own story that just dealt with its own. Where the Marvel stuff always is kind of overlap, interconnected, DC would have the interconnectivity, but would be focused on the singular experiences of those characters. and he wants to reflect that in the movies. So he wants each movie to be its own thing. And he said there are going to be crossover movies and like maybe some big Justice League thing as it builds up to it. But he said he doesn't want people to feel like they have to see every movie. He wants each movie to work as its own thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
And plus, we're getting an R-rated Clayface body horror movie. So
yeah, that is amazing.
Which again, Marvel would never like, and that's also what I appreciate about this is that they're letting people do unique things with these characters that is ultimately going to draw more attention to it. And I think that's better than them trying to copy Marvel when Zack Snyder was involved.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry.
Anyway. So I want to talk about the book that I'm almost finished, which is Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler.
That's actually on my list.
Okay, good. I think you'll like it. It's the start of a new fantasy, and I'll put this out there because I know we've in the past talked about fantasy books and series that go on forever. It's already planned just for a trilogy. I think the first 2 books are out.
Winds
so
of winter,
there's going to be
winds of I'm joking.
there's gonna be an end. So we'll just put that out there from the start. But no, this is awesome. I've read one other Django Wexler book, and it was like a robot, like a kaiju mech love story thing, and it was really good. This one is just as awesome. He at the in the
I have Ashes of the Sun right here on my Kindle.
Okay, good. In the introduction, he talks about how this book this trilogy kind of came about from a discussion about Star Wars. And you can see that in this. You can definitely see it. It's not a direct ripoff, and it's not a sci-fi. It's a fantasy novel. But you can see the touches. So there's a good side and possibly a bad side. There is the good side, much like the Jedi have swords that have, I'm just going to say like the 4 elements. So our main character has a fire sword. The person that she kind of works under has like a wind sword, and so on and so forth. So but still, you got the laser swords, you got your lightsabers, and then you got the dark side, which is the ghouls, and they're using their own separate powers. So you can see the Star Wars-esque stuff in it. But anyway, it's an amazing, great, fun fantasy novel. They, similar to Star Wars, you have the good guy group that's trying to investigate something happening in this small town that is next to a gorge, and it's a fantasy book, so there's some legend from way in the past of these ghoul things attacking, and then the good guys coming in to stop the ghouls, but then hey, maybe the good guys are not good, and there's this giant pit, and there's monsters that are in this pit, and I'm doing a terrible job explaining it, but I just don't want to boil it, but anyway, the writing is sharp. It's fast for a 500-page book. You read it pretty fast, and he doesn't bog you down with world building and lore. You get it all, but it's all he weaved it enough into the story that it doesn't feel like you're just stopping to get a history lesson. You're like, oh, okay, this thing that happened 400 years ago is directly tied into what is currently happening right now in the story. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Again, that's something I think we've talked about in the past, and a lot of fantasy books fall into pages and pages of lore that really is nice to know, but isn't affecting the current plot.
Every fantasy series needs a Silmarillion.
Yeah, exactly. So this one's not that. This one, like, it moves and you get what you need to know at the time, and then slowly the story builds and you get the past, but you also get the present. So that's good. That's what you need. And the characters are great. There's a little bit of a sapphic love story in there for people who love that kind of thing. And it's just it's the magic system, which again is something we have to talk about in fantasy books, is good. It's similar to the Force, but not quite. There is a limit to it, which is kind of nice, but it's not like I don't know. Like I'm trying because I read Mistborn and I read. I mean, and again, we've talked about these. I've read Patrick Rothfuss,
Wait,
and they all have their certain kind of.
Wait, this is a serious question. You finished Mistborn?
I read the first 2 books.
How did you finish Mistborn? I've DNF'd that book 3 times.
I just plowed through. I looked at it as an interesting, like, because at the time, and I know people have opinions of Brandon Sanderson, but this is years ago. So I'll put it that way. This was before some opinions have come out, but like years and years ago, I had listened to his writing podcast, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting. Let me read his book." And so when I was reading his book, I was not really reading it as a fantasy lover. I was reading it as a textbook to his writing. So, but the second one, I had to force myself through because it was rough. I understand.
The first one, I got to maybe the 4th exposition chapter, where this is what Sanderson does, is he'll have these character development chapters, and then he'll throw in what I call his exposition for the Dum-Dums chapter, where he has the characters sit and do character development stuff, but also just have them talk about the magic system, because he thinks his audience is very stupid and can't understand their magic system, and he wants people to understand his cool-ass magic system so they get all the intricacies when no one really fucking cares.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I tried Mistborn 3 times, and I'm just like, I'm not a fucking idiot. Every time I get to one of those exposition chapters, I'm just like, I'm not a fucking idiot. Like, it really pisses me off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And this one, it's not that.
Good.
So, like,
that's good.
Yeah, like, again, it kind of ties into what is happening, but it's not a stop the story. It's like, hey, these things are happening, and like, also here's how this magic like is like affecting what the thing is happening, and like how this magic is. And some of it's just it before, like, again, if I'm gonna go to Star Wars, this is like before the prequels and all that stuff. It's just in Star Wars before that, you're like, the Force is just the Force, and it just makes sense. That's what this is kind of like. Yeah. This is like the before mitochondrians. This is just like in Ashes of the Sun. It's just like, this is the magic, and you just kind of have to accept it.
That's how it should be.
That works.
Just, like, I'm reading a fantasy novel. I'm already bought in on magic. You don't need to sell me on a magic system. I'm reading a fucking fantasy book. I expect magic.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. There's some cool, like, little horror elements, which I know I didn't talk about, but there's like these cool little plague monster things that are like inside out animals that join to other animals, and so they all look really weird. And there's like this weird black spider thing that controls people, and so there's all that stuff too. But like, anyway, cool. I'm enjoying it. I'm ready for the second book. I'm gonna pick it up like today. So yeah, that's it for me. Ashes of the Sun.
Perfect.
Django Wexler.
And Vitlame, what about you?
I just finished the other day the last book in the Forever Desert trilogy, The Memory of the Ogisi by Moses Ose Utomi.
And how was that?
And so good! My God, Moses is such a good storyteller. It basically it follows is like I've talked about the books, the first 2 books a little bit, but me being such a bad explainer, I'm so bad at explaining stuff. But it happens. The third one happens 1,000 years after the first book, and 500 years after the second book. But it still is interconnected to the point that the end kind of hits you in the gut in such a profound way that I was like, you know what, this is probably the best way he could have ended that trilogy. But I can't say anything else because this is a novella. It's short.
Yeah.
You can finish it within one sitting. But it is basically, I can tell you that it's about a man called Ethike, and he's an Ogisi. It's basically one of the many historians of the City of 1,000 Stories.
Okay.
And he has kind of devoted his life to a person called Osi, who was the main character in the second book. So he kind of embarks on this journey to find more knowledge about this man because he believes that this type of knowledge will bring more greatness to the city.
Okay.
And so he goes on a trip through the desert, and what he discovers there is something that both is good for him to know, but if he brings it back to the city, it will be disastrous. But he does that because Etika is the kind of man he's super kind. He just sees everyone with as equals. He sees everyone with dignity and just with kindness. He doesn't judge anyone for what they've done. And he, being the naive man that he is, because he was sheltered in the story, like being the only man devoting his life to this figure, Osi, he is naive. So when he comes back to the city, things fall apart.
That sounds interesting.
And from there, you kind of like get another point of view from a little boy he rescues. And from there, it just kind of spirals, and it's such good storytelling. It reads like a fable.
That's awesome.
And just the way he weaves the story around, it looks simplistic, but you are so enthralled into the story.
I'll have to check these out.
Sounds awesome.
Sound really good.
I highly recommend that people take a look because this is based on like African culture. And like I said, these are all just 3 novellas. They're super short, but they all pack a punch to the story.
That's awesome. I'll definitely check these out. They sound really good.
The first book was called The Lies of the Django, so you should definitely first check that one out with Tutu.
Perfect. Well,
that sounds amazing.
My only other recommendations, I know there's a rant incoming, but my only other recommendations are I'm reading the new Bracken MacLeod collection. That's technically not out until next month. My Barnes & Noble near me was selling it early, so I picked up a copy of it, and
nice.
He's such a good short story writer. Like,
yeah, no, he is.
His short stories pack such a fucking punch every time. I'm currently loving those right now. And this book has also been in my to-be-read list for a long time. And I'm most likely going to pronounce this author's last name wrong because that's a trend. But I'm also reading Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman.
Oh. The medieval horror one.
Yeah. Have you guys read this yet?
No. I have not, but it's on my list.
You both need to put this high on your list. Like, this book, I'll be honest with you, I read the first chapter and I put the book down because I was afraid the book wouldn't live up to how great that first chapter was.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Wow.
And literally, it keeps on outdoing itself.
Okay.
I'm like 25.
What other books has he written?
He wrote The Suicide Motor Club, which is the only other book of his I read and I thought was really great. He also wrote a vampire novel that takes place in the New York subway system called The Lesser Dead.
The Lesser Dead, yeah, I've heard about that story as well.
He has a werewolf novel. I think it's called Across the River. He also has one called The Necromancer's House. And then he recently started putting out a fantasy series, which the first book of that's called The Black Tongue Thief.
Tongue Thief.
And Between Two Fires, it takes place during the Black Plague, which is a great setting for a horror book. And
that's amazing.
In this book, essentially, what has happened is God has turned his back on Earth, and Lucifer and the outcasted angels are trying to invade Earth and spread their influence, while the other angels that were part of, worked with God, even though God has abandoned Earth, they still feel the duty to try to protect humanity while the Black Plague is going on. And it's not really a Christian novel, but the author uses Christian theology for symbolism, essentially, and the more supernatural moments happening in the story. But it follows a knight named Thomas and a young girl who can see angels. Nobody else can see the angels, but this girl can. And she knows that she doesn't know what they want, but she knows they're guiding her. And Thomas is a disgraced knight who has done some pretty horrible things in order to survive, and he essentially becomes this girl's guardian as he's following her as she's following these angels as they guide her of where they want her to go.
That sounds amazing.
While the plague is also ravaging and demons are beginning to invade. And yes, there are demons and horror scenes in this. There's also some comedy in this. It's a really well-written book that one thing I've learned from Buehlman from reading him is he knows how to hook the audience and he knows how to string you along. And he knows when to go for a laugh and when to go for the extra kind of oh shit moment. I'm only 25% in, and whenever I pick this book up, I find it next to impossible to put down. So it's well worth reading. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I'll have more to say when I finish, but even as of now, it's fan-fucking-tastic.
And wait, what was it called again?
Between Two Fires.
Sweet.
And
yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's a fitting title.
It's a very fitting title. Yeah, it's definitely, he does a good job showing people's desperation, especially when it comes to the plague. And just how devastating the plague was, because that was, I mean, again, someone tested positive for the plague in California, so maybe it's coming back. But the plague was a pretty rough time in human history.
Yeah.
But Matt, do you have anything else?
Well, I think we can get into a rant because I've watched the first 3 episodes of Alien Earth.
Same here.
So have I.
And for listeners, before we totally get into the rant, it is, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is supposed to be set before Alien, right?
2 years before Alien.
Okay. So similar to Alien, we open up on a ship that has a bunch of dangerous cargo, and we don't actually get to see the attack, but because they have they have the xenomorph, of course, and the xenomorph gets out and attacks everything. This ship crash lands on Earth on this island that is run by this kid genius who runs this, one of the 5 corporations, because there's 5 corporations currently in this
Prodigy,
alien world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Prodigy. And so they crash land there, and chaos ensues. While that's going on, Prodigy, the boy genius that's running Prodigy, and I can't remember his name.
Boy Cavalier.
He
stupid fucking name.
I think he's gonna die a pretty glorious death by the end of this series.
Oh yeah, definitely. He has taken I think it's like 5 or 6 kids, and they're all sick, they're all dying, and it has
or disabled,
and taken their consciousness, their brain, and put it into synthetic robots, and so adult robots. And so you kind of have that story of them figuring themselves out. You have this ship that crash lands on the planet in their island. So of course Boy Genius is like, hey, let's go send our robot friend. There's other stuff, but I'm giving you real basics. Send the robot people in there to collect the ship is Weyland Yutani, should say.
Hey, we get Timothy Olyphant robot, thank you very much.
Yes, we get Timothy Olyphant robot, but so they're going to collect the sample and collect what they had, and you also have android that was on the Weyland Yutani ship who is working.
Not android, a cyborg.
Sorry, cyborg.
Just to complicate it even more, they have 3 types of synthetics here. They have the synthetics, they have the hybrids, and then they have cyborgs.
So he's trying to stop this because that's his only mission at this point. I mean, there's, again, more to it than that, but just giving listeners you all the basic plot of this. And so that is so far what has been happening. One of the synthetics with one of the kids' brains has a brother and saves the brother by the end of by middle of the end of second episode. That's not really a big spoiler.
Can I say, I feel bad for that actor who plays the brother, because every time I see him, I just think, oh, it's that pedo from Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. Yep.
And, I feel bad that's his legacy to me.
Yep.
That's really funny. Quite the good legacy. But, so yeah, that's, again, the basic plot of it. It's, in my opinion, it's okay. It's not really great. The way it's shot and the edits and everything like that, it feels very late 90s, early 2000s sci-fi TV show.
I kind of feel that's what they're going for, though, in all honesty. I think,
I mean, I hope, but that's such a weird choice, too, because it also doesn't look at points it looks pretty good, but at other points you're kind of this doesn't
stupid.
Look good. Yeah, it looks dumb.
It looked best when they were on the ship. I think,
yes.
The first episode when they were on the ship, that set design was spot on.
Yeah, the set
and that
design
for
was
me
great.
set the mood. That set the survival horror in space mood for me, and I was like, okay, I'm set.
And then it turns into a cyberpunk.
I'm getting anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically Battle Angel Alita with xenomorphs.
Honestly, it's literally cyberpunk if aliens.
Yeah.
He's really Noah Haley is really pulling into the thing that what's it called again? Something Runner with Harrison Ford.
Blade
Runner.
Yeah. He's really pulling into the fact hey, this is the same universe, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. Give me aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm curious to see where it will go. Right now, I'm on the point of, I really dug the first 2 episodes. Episode 3, I kind of moved from I really dig this to this is okay. But I don't know, like when Fargo first came out, the TV series that Noah Hawley did, like Holly did before this one, I was like, oh, this is okay until it finished. I was like, oh, this is really great. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe there's something in the back half that's going to pull this thing back around.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I already had low expectations because I was like, oh, this is gonna happen on Earth. Why wouldn't then in the timeline, if the timeline is supposed to be canon, like why wouldn't everyone on the Nostromo not know what was happening on Earth before they went?
Yeah.
It's kind of like jarring in a way. And
I can answer that question for you at least.
Okay.
So theory of relativity, right? Like the timeline of this series takes place 2 years before Alien, but who's to say that in those 2 years the Nostromo hasn't already been launched into space and they don't really have the contact to what's happening on Earth?
Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility. Yeah, I can see that happening. I mean, they were all probably already in space when this is happening.
Because while they're traveling, they have their own time as they're traveling, while time on Earth still passes as time on Earth still passes.
But here's the thing, like, and this is not technically a spoiler, but like I think it was in episode 3, the cyborg, who is turning out to be basically the main antagonist, which is fine. I have no qualms with that. He is an interesting character. He tells the audience and Yutani that he's been 65 years in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of fucks up the timeline.
Honestly, I don't think so. Because again, I was seeing a fan thing about that. I don't think that the people who made this are taking Alien Covenant or Prometheus into account with this. So, to our audience, there is a technical issue happening with my microphone. My audio isn't coming through as well as it should be. So I will be bowing out for the rest of this episode and giving the reins over to Vitlame and Matt, and you can enjoy the sultry, sexy sounds of their voices. And I love all of you. Peace.
Peace. Good luck, Rich.
Yeah. Okay, Matt. So I'm glad that you're not the only one because I feel like I am in an echo chamber, surrounded by yes men, and I'm like, am I the only one not seeing the plot holes here, or the humongous plot armor the characters have?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely feels like I was thinking that in the 3rd episode, and I don't think this will be much of a spoiler because it's an alien show, so there's going to be aliens attacking. But when they attack, and I can't think of the Doctor brother's name, but talking about plot armor, there was like so many times where it had him, and you're like, okay, well, why isn't he dead yet? When we've clearly seen this alien tear apart everything else, and it was just like, oh. Because they need him for the rest of the story.
Yeah, it was basically that. I was like, after the 2nd episode, when they jumped together, I'm like, if that guy doesn't have, like, second mouth holes in his face by the 3rd episode, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
And I was rightfully pissed when I watched the 3rd episode, because he was still alive and he was being used as a trap, and I'm like, why are you using him as a trap? Like, why is, up until now, the xenomorphs haven't given zero interest to the synths.
Yeah.
Unless they are like kind of like, in the way. Like for example in Aliens, the Queen tore Bishop apart. But I think it was more like to just see like the Queen takes Bishop, in a test kind of way. I think that maybe might have been the allegory over there.
Yeah.
But like it was because he was in the way. But other than that, she didn't give a crap about him. And I think they do because they see like, what am I going to do with the Sith? They can't nourish us. They can't produce any more aliens for us. Like, what the fuck? We just discard it. Bye.
Exactly.
So why? And I hope we will get some kind of answers in the coming episode. But I probably will not like those answers anyway. Just why the sudden interest in Wendy? The sin. And I hate the fact that she is this all powerful, like I said, a battle angel Alita, who's never seen any of these creatures before, and you're like, oh, curious. Yeah. And then, oh, I have a slicer. I'm gonna slice you up, and we don't even see that. And I'm like,
yeah, like where did that come from? And then like to have her, and when like you see, like, 'cause, again, for listeners, like she's the first one, but like there's really it doesn't really give us a time frame between her and the other ones, so it really feels like they did her one day and then like maybe a week later they did all the other kids.
Yeah, they don't really show that. And also there's like, why are they suddenly super powerful? Like from what I can tell from since like and I'm just now going from the movies. I've seen a little bit from the comics and a little bit of what I've been heard from the novels. They are still built kind of like humans, because if they were stronger than humans, that would be a problem.
Yeah. But like
if someone got into their mainframe and screwed up their fucking programming.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be that super powerful to the point that she's basically Iron Man.
Exactly. And then, but like the other like problem is to kind of go to like what you were saying with her just jumping in and attacking is like they show the other ones act like kids. They all seem to be about the same age. Like when we saw them originally, maybe they were a little different ages, but like the other ones act like kids just in adult bodies, and
which is annoying, but yeah, that's the point.
Right, which is sort of annoying, but it just like it confuses me where you have that, and then you have Wendy who, like, if you missed the first episode, you would just assume Wendy was an adult person because the way she's acting is like every once in a while she does something a little weird, like with her brother, not in a like gross way, but just in a like, okay, she's still a kid way, but like still like, you don't get the sense that she is a kid. You just get the sense that she's in this like mechanical body, the synthetic body, and so like that part kind of throws me off. And again, it's just so that like I'm kind of like makes me be like, okay, like you said at the beginning, it's like, what's the point other than just to show us that this prodigy group is a bad group?
Yeah, it's basically that. Also, what also kind of irks me that even though I really like the cyborg being the main antagonist, because he plays it really well, like the way he manipulated one of the synth kids, I was like, whoa, that's mean. Like that's just cruel.
It was cruel and creepy.
It was cruel and creepy, and I loved that. But at the same time, I don't get his motivation. Because, like you said, he's part human and part machine. And, he's kind of grappling with the fact, like, oh, what part of me is human and what part of me is machine? I'm like, I mean, that's good enough to explore. But at the same time, like, why are you going to such lengths to bring those fucking specimens back? If you're part human and you've seen what the fuck they did to your crew, I would bolt the fuck out of there. I'd be like, see you, Utani, this is your fucking problem.
Right. And like,
and they probably would think like, hey, he perished in the ship. We don't have to search for him. He's a free fucking man.
Yeah. Well, and they even like call to bring him in, and now possibly they could just destroy him when they bring him in. But at the same time,
he's a liability. Like, why would you go back? You know their secrets. Like, why would they keep you?
Yeah. And what also is confusing to that whole bit is like when you first get the call between Wayland and the kid from Prodigy, Wayland seemed like, no, we want our stuff back. And then when the cyborg calls and says like, hey, I'm going to go find them, they're like, no, come on in. It's like, like it just, it didn't make sense to me. I mean, maybe it will when we get further into the story. Maybe there's a reason for them not wanting for them not wanting him to be there. But like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in it that like, and again, and like,
can we pivot a little bit to the xenomorph, please? Because I don't find it scary. No. I don't know. It's just like the face looks so weird to me. I'm like, I know it's not CGI because I've seen the animatronic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, why is like it's giving me Uncanny Valley kind of vibes? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which is good in a way, but at the same time, when I keep going back, yes, like I keep going back to the other xenomorphs, like from Alien and Aliens, and God forbid, Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
They all had these kind of like these characteristics, the classic xenomorph characteristics that made you fucking crap your pants when you saw them.
Yeah.
But it feels too human to me. It also kind of goes away from being like this kind of perfect organism if the cyborg, for example, managed to subdue it with electroshocks.
Yeah.
And this kind of like rubber bag or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it was like some weird spider bag.
It just kind of put the thread. It dims it down so much that I'm like, okay, if the xenomorph is gonna be that lame, then you better bring it up a bit with the other specimens.
Yeah. Well, and I think they do, like, and I know we should probably get on to our actual discussion because of timing.
Yeah.
But it does.
It could be a whole episode of both. But again, I'm gonna, as much as my expectations are low on this series, I am gonna keep watching solely because of the main antagonist and Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah.
He is rocking every episode. I love this guy.
Yeah, and like I know Rich had talked about Fargo, and I really liked the season of Fargo, and like only because it took a little like, and I'll say I agree with Rich too. Like it sat a little too heavy on the movie, and then eventually it kind of did its own thing. And I'm wondering if that's the case for this. Now I don't know if they're gonna. Matt here again. At the end of the episode, since again the recording cut out, we did not get to say final goodbyes, and just wanted to make sure this ended well. So thank you for listening. Thank you for staring into the abyss. We are trying our best. You know where all of our socials are, so I won't go into that, but just thank you, and sorry again for the wackiness of this episode. And if you liked Alien Earth, we are sorry that we went on a rant. Thank you, and keep staring.